All right, let's jump right in. We're about to tackle what is, without a doubt, the most demanding and dynamic nutritional period in a human's entire life, that very first year. So before we even get into the what of infant nutrition, we have to wrap our heads around the why. And the why is just explosive growth. I mean, it's absolutely wild. An infant will usually triple their birth weight in just 12 months. Think about that. At the same time, their brain is going through this massive upgrade, with neurons getting myelinated at an incredible speed. There is literally no other time in life with this kind of physical transformation. Okay, so that leads to the big question, right? What on earth does it take to fuel all of that? We're talking about energy needs that are, well, they're staggering. It's not just a little more than an adult, it's on a completely different planet. Let's try to put this into perspective, because the numbers can feel a little abstract. If we scale it up, pound for pound, an infant's energy needs would be like a 150-pound adult needing to eat, well, a lot. Yeah, 7,350 calories a day. That number should really frame this whole conversation for you. It shows just how critical and honestly, how precise infant nutrition has to be. There's no waste here. Every single calorie is being put to immediate vital work. All right, so let's get into the first phase, the first 6 months. This is all about one thing, the liquid diet. And this liquid diet has a very, very specific recipe. Take a look. A whopping 55% of an infant's calories have to come from fat. And no, that's not just for energy storage. This fat is loaded with essential fatty acids, DHA, AA, that are absolutely crucial for building the brain and the retina. It's literally the raw material for that neural myelination we were just talking about. Okay, so where does this perfect liquid food come from? Now, infant formula today is a safe and nutritionally complete alternative, for sure. But from a purely biological perspective, we have to talk about why human milk is called the gold standard. It's not just food, it's a living fluid, and has some incredible components that science, frankly, just can't replicate in a can. Let's start with the protein. Check this out. Human milk is about 60% whey. And why does that matter? Well, whey is water-soluble. That means it's super easy for an infant's brand new digestive system to handle. It breaks down easily and helps avoid issues like constipation, which can sometimes happen with formulas that have more casein, a protein that's a bit tougher to digest. But it gets even cooler. Beyond just proteins, fats, and carbs, breast milk has these things called human milk oligosaccharides, or HMOs. Now get this, the baby can't even digest them. So what are they for? They're prebiotics. They're food for the good bacteria in the baby's gut. It's this amazing evolutionary trick to build a healthy microbiome right from the start and help protect against nasty infections. And check out this feat of biological engineering, the milk fat globule. So the fat in human milk isn't just floating around randomly. It's neatly packaged inside this special membrane. Think of it like a perfect little delivery package. This structure makes all the good stuff, the fats, the cholesterol, highly bioavailable. In other words, the baby's body can absorb and use it way more efficiently, especially for building that rapidly growing brain. So when you put it all side by side, the differences really pop. Breast milk is delivering live antibodies, actual white blood cells, from mom to baby. It's actively building that gut microbiome with HMOs, and there's another piece to this. Breastfeeding helps the infant learn their own hunger and fullness cues because they control the flow. This can have long-term benefits, like potentially reducing the risk of obesity later on. Okay, so milk is the foundation, but it doesn't matter if a baby is breastfed or formula-fed. There are a few key nutrient interventions that are absolutely necessary for everyone. And here they are. These 3 are non-negotiable. First, vitamin K. Babies are born with very low levels, so they get an injection at birth to prevent a serious bleeding disorder. Second, vitamin D. Breast milk is actually pretty low in it, so breastfed infants need daily drops. And finally, iron. We're going to circle back to this one because it's a huge deal and the main reason for the next big transition. Okay, so let's talk about that iron. Here's the crucial point. A baby is born with a 6 months supply of iron, basically inherited from their mother in the womb. But around 6 months, that supply tank hits empty. And this isn't a mistake in the system. It's nature's alarm clock. It's a perfectly timed biological cue saying, okay, it's time to get nutrients from somewhere else. And that cue brings us right to the next chapter, starting solid foods.
Around that 6-month mark, babies are developmentally primed and ready to start exploring foods beyond just milk or formula.
So how do you know they're ready? Well, there are some really clear signs. And you'll remember this from our last discussion on reflexes. The big one is the disappearance of the extrusion reflex. You know, that tongue thrust reflex that pushes everything out. Once that's gone, they can actually move food to the back of their mouth to swallow. You combine that with good head control and a genuine curiosity about what you're eating, and you're good to go. So, when we start solids, it's not just a free-for-all of tastes and textures. It's actually a really strategic process with two main goals: getting that iron back up and carefully introducing potential allergens.
And because that iron depletion is what kicks this whole thing off, it makes sense that the very first foods should be packed with it. We're talking pureed meats and poultry or iron-fortified cereals like oatmeal. Those are your go-to starters. Okay, now for allergens. This is where the Bidens has done a complete 180 in recent years. The old thinking was to wait, to avoid things like peanuts and eggs. We now know that was wrong. The current science is crystal clear. You introduce those common allergens early, around 6 months, to teach the immune system to tolerate them. It's all about building that oral tolerance. So how do you do that safely? It's simple. You follow the wait and see rule. You introduce one and only one new food at a time. Then you wait 3 to 5 days, watching for any reactions like a rash or an upset stomach. It's a super straightforward, methodical way to figure out if a specific food is causing a problem.
All right, just as important as what to introduce is what not to introduce. An infant's body is still very much under construction, and some foods are absolutely off limits in the first year for some very good reasons. Let's run through the big ones. No cow's milk as a drink, because their kidneys just can't handle that protein load. No fruit juice, it's just sugar water that can cause cavities. Whole fruit is way better. No added sugar at all, ideally until age 2. And then the obvious one, choking hazards. Anything small, hard, and round is a no-go. Think whole grapes, nuts, pieces of hot dog. And here's a really, really important one. Absolutely no honey for the first year. The reason is a rare but very serious illness called infant botulism. Honey can contain these tiny spores that an adult digestive system can easily fight off, but an infant's gut isn't mature enough, and those spores can colonize and cause a really dangerous, potentially fatal illness. So, no honey, period.
So, there you have it. You've fueled that incredible first year of growth. You've managed the leap from a liquid diet to solid foods. The nutritional foundation is officially laid. But what happens next? What happens when all that early curiosity starts to turn into, well, pickiness? That's exactly where we're headed in our next explainer, as we dive into the wild world of toddler nutrition.